This is Ice Cream Gecko, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the Ben & Jerry's and Tony's Chocolonely non-dairy chocolatey love affair ice cream. That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? It's a chocolate non-dairy ice cream with salted caramel swirls, caramel chunks and sea salt chocolatey chunks. Bought this on sale at the local Globus for €4.49. It's a great sale. With inflation going on the way it is, I'm actually quite surprised that we get an ice cream here for €4.49. A brand ice cream, especially these non-dairy ones from Ben & Jerry's, who are already much more expensive than the regular ones usually. Anyway, my local Globus doesn't have new Ben & Jerry's in too often, so I'm very happy that I finally got my hands on this. I've never actually seen this before, but this was the last one that was left on the freezing shelves, so I'm really happy that I got around to buying this. Let's take a look around the thing. One thing that I don't really like about the ice cream at my local Globus is that they also are not all too great on keeping their stuff ice free, and there's always a lot of ice buildup on the ice cream that they actually sell. Pause if you want to read the ingredients list right there in German. Pause if you want to read, let's get off a bit more ice down there. Pause if you want to read the nutrition table right there. Pause if you want to read the nutrition table in, I think you can read it already, in Dutch, and pause if you want to read it in French as well. Okay, pause if you want to read that, pause if you want to scan that, pause if you want to take a look at all these funny symbols, and also of the picture of the ice cream that we have right there on the bottom until January of 2024. Is this best consumed by? That's a surprise. Okay, let's open this up. The perforated point in that plastic ribbon up top. If I can get this off in a timely manner. I can. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that ice? Oh yeah, that was just ice. Okay, let's take off the top. Take a look at what it looks on the inside. Okay, this, I don't know why, but I expected something that was a bit lighter than this. Okay, this is just like vegan ice cream, not actually ice cream, therefore it's brown, so it's probably like chocolatey stuff. We've got those chunks of caramel, I assume. Let's poke them. Okay, that's very soft. What is that? Chunky stuff? Apparently it is. I don't know. Some sort of chocolate chunk that we've got right there, which is supposed to be that sea salt chocolatey chunk, I guess. Yeah, and that really seems to be it from what we can spot right here. So let's take the cutting board and slice this through. Where are we going to cut this? Let's do it right here. Slicing is fine, not too much resistance. We don't have like big huge mix-ins in here, so it's not something that we would have expected either. Okay, so now we've got one of those chocolatey, well, chocolate chunks. I hope it's real chocolate. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. Here we've got what I assume are these like caramel chunks, aren't they? So what's this then? Is this some sort of sauce, or do they dissolve in the vegan ice cream? Here we've got caramel sauce. I think that's caramel sauce. Wait a minute. Okay, salted caramel swirls, I think. Yeah, that's what those things are. But I thought there would be more like actual chunks of caramel visible from here, because this sort of like saucy stuff doesn't really feel chunky at all. Okay, which one are we going to keep? I'm going to keep this one. The other one is going back into the freezer, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, I'm back at the desk, so now let's jump into the consumption portion of this video. Consistency wise, yeah, it's not as creamy as actual ice cream is. It's a lot stiffer. Yeah, it's not bad, but not as creamy as premium ice cream from Ben & Jerry usually is. Scent-wise, yeah, it doesn't even smell of chocolate ice cream. That's something that's a bit of a disappointment, I've got to say. It smells very much like a mixture of cookies, chocolate cookies, It smells fatty for some reason. And it reminds me kind of that Milka ice cream that we had once in that pint that was really awful. It reminds me scent-wise of that. It's not quite as bad, and there's more of a chocolate smell to it. But it's got that sort of fatty smell, which is not really uplifting, I don't think. So let's run the spoon on the top around once with a bit of a chocolate piece right there. It doesn't melt away too quickly, it seems. Although when it melts, you can see that it doesn't really become like a soft cream as actual ice cream does. It's not quite there. Scent-wise, it's not there. Consistency-wise, neither. Let's see what it tastes of. Okay, flavor-wise, same story here. It's not ice cream. You can taste that right away. It tastes like basically almost all of these vegan chocolate ice creams, or chocolate ice cream substitutes, I should say. It doesn't taste like awful, but flavor-wise, it doesn't have that creaminess of actual ice cream with that chocolate flavor. I cannot quite make out what the base is made of, whether or not this is like an oat base, or if it is an almond base. From the first spoonful, I can't tell what it is. Unfortunately, I can't read what it is either, because I cut off the part where that is being written on, which is a bit unfortunate. I had a bit of a salty swirl or a salty chunk right there, which is enjoyable. Okay, I rushed downstairs to the freezer to check what is written in before, what is written right there. Yeah, just chocolate ice cream substitute, like plant-based chocolate ice cream. It's weird, really weird. I mean, usually when they've got these vegan ice creams and they say they put like almond milk in here, it usually tastes of oat milk, and it usually tastes of not the greatest of oat milk ice cream bases. So this doesn't taste as bad as many of these other Ben & Jerry's vegan ice creams, and yeah, now they just call it like plant-based chocolate ice cream without even specifying what it really is based on. That's interesting. But flavor-wise, I've got to say this is definitely a step forward, because it's not revolting. No, overall it's an ice cream type mass that doesn't taste as fatty as it smelled at first. You do have these salty chocolate chunks that definitely make their way to your taste buds with their salt. A very pleasant salty flavour, not too much, not too little. The chocolate chunks themselves are nice and crunchy when they are as cold as they are over here. And overall, I've got to say I'm pleasantly surprised. It's not as bad as I expected. Okay, let's try and taste just that ice cream base down here. Yeah, flavor-wise, it just tastes of a generic, like not bad tasting, but kind of generic chocolate ice cream substitute. I can't really say too much about it. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's okay. It really is okay, at least in my opinion. Okay, let's take a look at one of these, what I assume to be like caramel chunks. Are those the caramel chunks? I think those are the caramel chunks, right? Tastes alright. They are more brittle than I thought they would be, but they taste good. They taste salty, but maybe that's just the salt that was in something that surrounded them. I'm not quite sure. I mean, let's remember, I'm the guy who reviews stuff, pretends to read stuff, reads it out loud, and doesn't really recognize or remember what he's just read 2 minutes ago. That's me. That's just me. Okay, let's take a look at one of those. Oh no, we can take one of these pieces right here. Those ones that are melting. Looks alright. Like sort of a round-shaped chocolate piece that we've got there. Plenty of them as well. Decent sort of spread of those, I think. It has got a few salt crystals inside of it, it seems. It has got a very pleasant chocolate flavor with a decent amount of salt in it. Overall, quite a pleasant mix, and the texture of that is pretty much perfect for an ice cream like this. So let's take another spoonful of a partially melted vegan ice cream base. Yeah, overall I've got to say that I'm pleasantly surprised by this. We've got plenty of salty flavor. The ice cream base, for once, is vegan and not awful. It's pretty neutral actually. And since I'm not the greatest fan of chocolate ice creams to begin with, I seem to be pleasantly surprised by this, I've got to say. Caramel smell has a decent flavor as well. I don't know if there's too much salt to be in there, but it tastes a bit of salt. And it certainly has a very nice and creamy caramel flavor to it as well. Overall, I've got to say the mix of flavors that we've got here, that salt, that caramel flavor, the chocolate flavor, and the actual chocolate pieces, they all come together to a very, very decent mix. So I have taken another few spoonfuls, and I've got to say I'm still not hating this, which is good for one of those vegan Ben & Jerry's. I think I'm actually going to finish this off camera now, and I'll be back with you and the review sheet in just a second. Alright, the consumption process is complete and we're ready to rate this with the review sheet. The first impression has been okay. It wasn't looking all too great, it was looking like regular standard Ben & Jerry's when you took off the top. Something that I didn't like though was the smell of it. It smelled of fat, of some sort of fatty mass, and it really reminded me of that very bad Milka ice cream pint that I had thankfully quite some time ago by now. That wasn't great, and this one right here, I feared that this is going to be very similar. It wasn't, thankfully, but the smell at first was a bit off-putting, unfortunately. Color-wise, this gets half a point out of one available one. Everything looked quite alright, I've got to say, under the regular desk light that I've got right here. Pretty warm, I think 2700K Osram LED lamp that I've got put in here. When I did hold this under the regular room light, which is a bit of a colder fluorescent tube light, this looked in a weird way not of like ice cream that's brown, not of chocolate ice cream, but it reminded me that very particular shade, more of sewage almost. And don't let that be too much of a deterrent for this particular item, no. But the color of this just, it doesn't quite look like ice cream under certain lighting conditions. So just take that into consideration when you eat this under a fluorescent tube light. It might look not like regular well-tasting ice cream. Overall, though, nothing too bad about it. This was just some weird thing that just never occurred to me with ice cream like ever before. So I feel like mentioning this right now. Still half a point out of one available one, and just a bit off-putting, that impression. Consistency and texture-wise, 1.5 out of 2 available points. Overall, it has been fine for one of those vegan ice creams. Definitely a very decent contender in that particular competition. The chocolate itself was very decent in texture when you've got those cold chocolate pieces that are kind of crunchy. Those salty pieces, also those salt crystals got a nice crunch to them as well. That consistency of those caramel swirls was very fine indeed. They felt very creamy, I've got to say. It didn't really feel too vegan at all, interestingly. And overall, I've got to say 1.5 out of 2 available points is a very decent rating, a very decent entry when it comes to vegan ice creams in the consistency department here today. Taste-wise, 4 out of 5, and I've got to say that this particular vegan ice cream is one of the best that I've ever had, because this didn't try to be an almond-based ice cream that really tasted of oats like Ben & Jerry's have done previously. I mean, I don't know how they did actually manage to achieve that at the time, but this one right here is a lot better, I've got to say, when it comes to flavor. Yeah, very neutral ice cream base, chocolate flavor. It definitely has plenty of that. The chocolate itself, with those salty crystals in there, has been tasting very nice indeed. The caramel swirls were nice as well. Those caramel chunks, there were too few of them maybe. I would have loved a few more of these pieces in here. That would be great. For some reason there were a few of those lighter, softer, like liquid droplets in the ice cream scattered all over the place. Maybe those were those caramel chunks as well that sort of dissolved in some way. I don't know why, but some of them were, some of them weren't. Maybe it's something else entirely and I'm just confusing something, but overall those actual caramel chunks that were like crunchy. They were really nice indeed, I've got to say. All in all, I've got to say that chocolate flavor with that salty flavor and that caramel flavor, it's got a very, very nice flavor image it presents us here. Something that is not typical for those vegan ice creams. Themalization wise, overall, 1 out of 1 available point, which brings us to the final rating of 7.75 out of 10 available points. Yeah, I've got to say that I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I've never thought that this is going to be great, but this is actually something that if this is on sale again, I might actually buy for myself. Like usually I don't buy Ben & Jerry's just for eating it myself because it's like expensive. I'm a uni student, right? So I don't really allow myself to splash out on stuff like this. But when it's on sale, this is right at the verge of being justifiable once a month. So yeah, maybe I'm actually gonna go for this if it comes around again. I think this is some sort of like special edition, special batch. Yeah. I mean, maybe it is just here to disappear right away, but maybe it isn't. And I would wish for this to just stick around for a little while, because I think that this is a very decent entry, like I said, in this vegan ice cream competition, because this doesn't taste too much of vegan ice cream. It's got a very particular scent to it that makes it like smell cheap and off-putting a little bit, but the flavor itself is very decent, and I really did not expect that from a vegan Ben & Jerry's. Like, the vegan stuff is usually not Ben & Jerry's forte. Almost anyone makes it better than they do for some reason. I don't know how they could screw up like so big so many times over and over and over again with many or most of the vegan Ben & Jerry's that I've had on this channel already. Anyway, if you've got a question or a video suggestion, leave it in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I'm going to see you soon. Until then, bye bye.